In only 10 years, a small independent watch brand has taken the industry by storm. They are about to release one of the most amazing watches of the year, and it has the craziest lume you've ever seen. Seriously. When Ming came onto the scene, they hit the gates running. They seemingly accepted the challenge from watch lovers around the world and chose to be different. Experimenting with dial designs, case materials, and incredible movements done to their specifications. Ming is one of those brands that do it for the love of watches. It's clear by their attention to details and creative concepts. They just announced the 20.01 Series 3, a central counter chronograph and a first-of-its-kind dial innovation, which involves lasers and an insane amount of lume. The watch is very Ming from top to bottom, and that's what I really love about this watch brand. They have carved out their own identity that brings refreshing collections than the usual dive watch and three-hand chronographs. The 20.01 has two distinct characteristics that takes this watch to a crazy level: the dial and the movement. When I first saw this watch, it didn't remind me of anything else. It's definitely a lot different than any type of watch we've seen. Ming is debuting what they believe is an industry-first dial technique that allows them to use more lume, something that has been a hallmark for the brand, but this time it's far more than they've ever used before. The Series 3 dial has a burst of white plots in a spiral pattern that looks somewhat like a guilloche, which is a fancy way to describe a decorative technique where a very intricate and repetitive pattern is engraved. Ming has introduced a unique dial with 600 cavities created using laser technology in 3D shapes, which were then hand-filled with liquid superluminova X1 mixture. On the edge of the crystal, the watch also features a pulsometer scale which overlaps the dial pattern and can only be seen at certain angles. If there's one thing Ming does well, it's making luminous watches. The second is you could always count on them for dial inversion. When exposed to direct light, the dial reveals the movement underneath, revealing what looks like a string of pearls or bubbles on the backside of the movement plates. Because of the empty spaces and the amount of available space on the dial, there's plenty of room for lume. Ming's hands are another part of their overall design, which are made from 18 karat 5N rose gold and filled with more superluminova, blending nicely with the rest of the gold and lume on the watch. The blue chronograph hands is a really nice touch of detail. The Series 3 comes in at 41.5 millimeters in diameter and 14.2 millimeters in thickness, and it's made from rose gold and grade 5 titanium. It is comprised of 34 components and uses 4 different finishes, which all come together really nicely. Powering the watch is the manually wound Augenhor caliber AGH 6361, aka the Augengraph, which was announced in 2017 and is one of the most remarkable and non-traditional chronographs we've seen in a really long time. The movement is a chronograph with an extra central hands that acts as the minute counter. It looks like a split-second chronograph, but in reality, it's something much more clever. Ming's commitment to releasing original styles is once again evident in the 20.01. If there is one thing I would critique, it would be the legibility, specifically on the pulsometer scale. In certain lighting and angles, I suspect it might be a little difficult to read the text and use the chronograph function. But because of how gorgeous this watch is and all the unique characteristics, I definitely let that slide, and this watch is truly a knockout.